Hey pickleball friends, it's time to move beyond the mantra of four hands in the middle when we choose the side we play in doubles, or in the way we go about picking partners. Of course, put away power is important, but rather than prioritizing forehand strength or left-hand right-hand dominance, there's reason to believe that we should instead position ourselves based on who is left or right eye dominant. The idea stems from linking together this video by renowned tennis coach Patrick Mouratoglou on eye dominance and recommendations from pro pickleball players and coaches Dayne, Gingrich, and Scott Fliegelman about where our visual focus should be when we're at the non-volley zone. First, here's the backstory. I'm right-handed, extremely right-handed, and for as long as I can remember through many years of playing tennis, I have favored my forehand. During ground stroke rallies, for any ball on the right 2/3 of the court, I would adjust my position in order to hit a forehand. So if we translate this to doubles in pickleball, I should love playing the right side where I hit almost exclusively forehands, especially once we get to the non-volley zone, and especially in mixed where my partner will step over and take more than half the court, or much more than half the court depending on who it is. Playing the right side, in theory, I'm mostly protected from having to hit backhands. But at risk of exposing my preferences or vulnerabilities to all future opponents, I'll freely admit that I'm just not as comfortable on the right side as I am on the left side. And you could make an argument that maybe my preference for the left side is because it does put my forehand in the middle, so depending on the match, I may take more balls overall and have the satisfaction of finishing points. But the left side also exposes me to more backhands in dink rallies. And I can honestly say that this is not some alpha dog impulse or an ego-based need to play the dominant side if I have a right-handed partner. It's more of an innate bodily sense of comfort, similar to the way it feels more natural to turn left than right when I ski or when I skate. In trying to figure out this left side preference, I happened upon Patrick Mouratoglou's video where he shows that regardless of hand dominance, eye dominance affects ground stroke power, accuracy, stance, and footwork. The video is phenomenal. I truly can't recommend it enough. He uses clips of Roger Federer and Alexander Zverev to demonstrate the concepts, and I put a link to it in the description. But before we delve into the details of how it affects our strokes, let's first talk about what eye dominance is. With single eye vision, the field of view is about 95 degrees toward the same side or ipsilateral ear, and 60 degrees toward the opposite or contralateral side. In this illustration, with red representing the right eye and blue being the left, the total visual field spans about 190 degrees, and the central overlap in lavender represents roughly 120 degrees of our binocular vision, or field of view using both eyes. This central area is where we have the best depth perception and spatial or positional understanding for objects that we see. For most people, one eye has more neural connections to the visual cortex in the brain. So even with binocular sighting, the stimuli perceived by the dominant eye is processed preferentially over the other eye. This results in the visual information being detected more quickly, up to 14 milliseconds faster, and more accurately than the non-dominant eye. Granted, this is a tiny fraction of time, but it can make a difference in everyday life, like when we're driving, and definitely in our reaction time in sports. When it comes to tennis, according to Patrick's video, we want to adjust our positioning to have our dominant eye toward the net or in the direction of the oncoming ball. For ground strokes at the baseline, if you are right eye dominant, you can move left and turn your body nearly 90 degrees to your left and still sight the ball over your right shoulder. For a right-handed player, this will result in a stronger backhand, and for a left-handed player, a better forehand, because the ability to make a bigger shoulder turn equates to more power, and it also allows for a contact point that is more in line with your body, so the ball will rest on the strings slightly longer, which improves accuracy. But if the ball is coming to your right side, you will want to adjust to have an open or semi-open stance so that you can keep your head directed mostly forward. This means that your shoulder turn won't be as big, and your contact point will be slightly more out in front. So a right-handed, right-eye dominant player is more likely to have a stronger backhand than forehand, and a left-handed, right-eye dominant person, someone with cross dominance, will have a stronger forehand than backhand. Conversely, if you're left-eye dominant, you'll be more comfortable moving and turning toward the right, so a left-handed, left-eye dominant player will favor their backhand, and a cross-dominant, right-handed, left-eye player will favor their forehand. I have to say, discovering this video was a revelation because it helped me understand why I've always favored my forehand, and it's because I am a right-handed, left-eye dominant person. Okay, pickleball peeps, thanks for your patience listening to all this tennis talk. The second piece of the puzzle to help me understand my left side playing preference was listening to Scott Fliegelman and Michael O'Neill's 4-0 to Pro podcast, which is also highly recommended. Scott mentioned that if we have a tendency to watch the ball all the way to our partner's paddle when we're at the non-volley zone, we'll struggle to keep up during firefights. In his Instagram discussion, Dayne Gingrich refers to this as full tracking, where we turn our heads 90 degrees to watch our partner contact the ball during non-volley zone rallies. He recommends instead that we half track and have our primary focus of attention on the opponent directly across from our partner, because this is the ball that will come back at us most quickly if our partner decides to speed up. He says that keeping our partner in our peripheral vision and keying in on how our opponent is setting up to respond gives us all the information we need, not only to counter in the moment, but it also helps us to improve our pattern recognition. Let's look at this animation again with the visual fields layered over it. If we have a left-eye dominant player on the right side of the court, looking straight ahead, it appears that this position would be ideal because the left eye can sight the entire court. But this changes once a rally starts because in pickleball, our attention is drawn inward toward the court, and full tracking will turn the player's dominant left eye completely away from the opponent, effectively eliminating the quicker perceptive ability of that eye. Half tracking is an improvement because our partner is comfortably in our peripheral vision and we're better able to detect an immediate threat from the opponent opposite our partner. But we are still vulnerable to the player directly across from us, and our dominant eye is not ideally positioned. My experience of this is that Dayne and Scott are spot on. I've definitely felt much more comfortable on the right side since I've changed where I place my attention. And there are times I'm even doing 0 or 10% tracking during kitchen rallies, where I keep my head neutral to the net to optimize the position of my left visual field. If we go back to the animation, as soon as we switch sides, we can immediately see how half tracking will be more effective for a left eye dominant player on the left side, because the optimal field of view is directed toward both opponents. Granted, there are many things that go into determining reaction time, but obviously a first key component is visual perception of our target, which in this case is the pickleball. So in this scenario, the dominant left eye picks up the information sooner and more accurately when the player is positioned on the left side. When we half track, the best visual court coverage comes from pairing partners with opposite eye dominance. This may equate to the quickest combo of reaction times. And for me, I think this helps explain why I have this intangible bodily sense level of preferring to be on that left side. But again, this is just a theory, so I'm super interested in what you all think about this. So leave me your thoughts or questions in the comments below. And if you're still with me and want to test this out, here's the method for determining your eye dominance. Hold both arms fully extended out in front of you and make a triangle with your index fingers and thumbs. And with both eyes open, choose a small target in the distance and have it be at least 15 feet or so away. And then close your left eye and keep your right eye open. Close your right eye and keep your left eye open. Your dominant eye is the one that maintains the target object in the triangle with single eye vision. So if your left eye is closed and your right eye is open, and the object is visible in the triangle, then you're right eye dominant. And typically, the object will move out of the triangle when you have your dominant eye closed. So if you have your right eye closed and left eye open, and the target shifts, then that's an indicator that you are right eye dominant. Conversely, left eye open, right eye closed, object still in the middle of the triangle, then you're left eye dominant. And again, the importance of this is that your brain preferentially processes information from that dominant eye. It's thought that about 65 to 70% of people are right eye dominant and 25 to 30% are left eye dominant. But just like the strength of handedness is on a continuum, where somebody may be extremely right or left-handed and another person may be ambidextrous and can easily do things with either hand, there can also be variation in the strength of eye dominance. And there are people who are ambiocular, where both eyes have comparable input or may be dominant in different situations depending on the activity. But the number of people with equal eye dominance is thought to be pretty small, around 10%. Give this a try and let me know what you think. Of course, eye dominance is only one of many factors that can affect reaction time, but still, as somebody who is strongly right-handed and strongly left-eye dominant, it makes me wonder if rather than trying to pair with a lefty so I can play the left side, I should instead be searching for a partner who is right eye dominant. More to come.